Tabletop Call-In Show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the Tabletop Call-In Show. We are here. Let me get this talk show thing off the screen. Yeah, we are here to talk about games with you. It's me in a lovely Discord-based winter scene. I am Adam Bell. Find me on Twitter at AdamEBell. Go hit the follow button on my upcoming Kickstarter. Legend has it at kickstarter.adamebell.games. That'll be going live as soon as I start mailing Grasping Nettles in January. Well, hopefully I'll be mailing Grasping Nettles this month, but that'll be going live in January. But I haven't forgot about my other project, is what I'm trying to say. Jeremy, are you here? Hello?
It's me! I've been here the whole time.
Isn't that great? Isn't it lovely? What a magic trick that you've performed for the people.
You all deserve it for this holiday season. Happy winter spite, everybody. Attack on Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Gage. You can find me at JeremyGage5 over on Twitter. Listen to the Draw Your Dice podcast. I'm also making games. I'm almost done for a play test, so if you're interested, send me a DM.
I'll do that.
I need help.
No, do that. That's a lot.
Thank you for... Wow. I want to give hello, shout-outs, highs to C. Framment, Tankstein, Gila RPGs, Eli Seitz, Adam Bell, who also just put in the Discord. And also thank you for the Prime sub, Spencer. Wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, truly. You have no idea.
I don't know how to tell people that giving us money is nice, but it is. Even if it's the weird free money that you get.
That Amazon doles out to you every month.
Yeah, the little, here, we'll give some of our billions and billions to your favorite content creator, but only once a month. Appreciate that we're the once a month. That's nice. What's been going on, Jeremy? You got any cool stuff?
Yeah, dogs. I'm taking care. For anyone who's new to the show or doesn't know, I do dog walking slash dog sitting as my new sort of day job, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I love taking care of these dogs. I love not working with people.
Yeah, just pure dog stuff.
Yeah. After being in restaurant industry for like 10 years, working with dogs is amazing. Truly amazing.
That's good to hear.
Hello, Marx. Thanks for being here for the first time. That's Marx Shepherd of the Yes Indeed podcast. Please go check it out.
Hey, go check it out.
And then working on Umbral Dive, which the name might shift, and
even the name isn't safe.
The project name might shift. I don't know if it fits the same project name anymore. But yeah, there's good stuff happening. I have a lot of action tokens, and time is involved. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay, I'm excited to hear. I'm excited.
If someone
to see
asks,
more.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, but otherwise we can get into it some other time, like next week on the Tabletop Call-In Show talk show. Who knew? Where we just talk
Adam,
out our asses. With me, let's think. I played a game of Court of Blades on, what is that, Saturday, I think it was? I like that game. I'm a fan. I might talk more about that game at some other time. But I'm shopping around for a new preferred Forge in the Dark game so that I can... what am I talking about? So that I can... do the things. So that I could playtest my tactical storytelling engine, my grid-based resolution system. Because I'm a little bit tired of Blades in the Dark. I'm not gonna lie. It's only so many times I can go on a heist in a cloudy city with no sun.
Maybe I'll see if you can pop in on our Band of Blades game. Just come in as like a rookie or something and see if it works there.
Ooh, it should work there. But yeah, it's just a matter of like, what do I want to play consistently? Yeah. In the run up to making that thing good, making it hum. I would play your bands of blade, bands of blade.
Blade Blender. Welcome
hopefully,
to the new game show Blade Blender, where we put sharp objects inside other sharp objects.
Ooh. So that was good. I'll talk about that more later. I think I might formulate some more opinions before I really start diving in, but I think it's good. The other thing I did this week was yesterday I went to an event at my local museum where a friend of mine is working with like an organization. A friend of mine works at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, and is working with a different organization called SUDLC, which like they're a local, I believe they're pretty much local organization that is just trying to play story games with the youth to get them thinking about how the world should be better.
I love it.
So they're kind of collaborating on like a tabletop RPG style thing for the museum itself. It'll be like a little zine that you pick up when you walk into the museum, and then you interact with the exhibits and like make a character and stuff.
Sounds like Viditia's energy.
Yeah, it was cool. I think they've got at least a good base. It'll probably take some doing to make it really good, but even if it's only kind of good, it's still pretty cool at a museum. So like they're already there. Like they're already that it's going to be really cool. So that was neat. I think that's it. That's all the gaming I'm doing. Oh, well, I guess I did launch the Kickstarter for Legend Has It, but or not launch the Kickstarter. Fuck, my brain's going a different speed today.
I love it.
I launched the pre-launch page for Legend Has It on Kickstarter, so go check that out. That'll be coming in January. Like I said, it's gonna be fun and good. I think that's it. Other than that, just working on Grasping Nettles a little bit more. It's almost finished. And what else? I feel like
As a reminder to everyone, today is call-in day. If feel free to call in to the show. That was the original version of this for newcomers who are here. There is a Discord link in the chat, and if Adam wants to put it again a second time, just in case it's not populating for something,
anybody can do this.
Anybody can do it. I'm not going to.
Discord.
But
yeah, we can get somebody else in here talking so that I could stop.
Unless that's what you all want today, then we'll dance like the puppets we are for those Twitch Prime subscriptions.
I think the only other thing that I've done is announce a ceasefire on the wild attempt to make a video every day. I did it for a week. It felt fun, but it also would not be fun the second week, and definitely wouldn't be fun the third week. And by the fourth week, let me tell you, no. That's too many videos. It looks like we are getting some callers. It's a little bit muddy right now because I see one person officially joined the queue but is not in the waiting room. Another person in the waiting room didn't join the queue. I think we could break the rules a little bit and bring in Dan Phipps right here, right now, right? What are you thinking?
Sure.
Hey, thank you for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show. Let me find that current caller button.
Okay, let's see.
Now you're on the screen.
Sure. Let me find that current caller.
Hey, Dan.
There we go.
Dan, can you hear us?
I was not ready.
Oh, no.
Can't hear anything.
We can have this
going
conversation
exactly wrong
at an immense delay where you listen to us on the stream and then respond 35 seconds later.
Thank you, Dice Ghost, for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I should do something where that goes on the screen so it's like an auto thanks, because I never see it. But I guess you're good at reading the chat, Jeremy. So that's.
I love reading it. I love thanking the people.
Dan?
Hashtag Juice Nation.
All right, we are having some slight technical difficulties with Dan.
No stress there. That's why it's a tabletop call-in show.
Yeah, it would not be. I would actually hate doing this show if we didn't have to do this at least once a month.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if it just went well, that's not a call-in show.
It doesn't feel real, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you
feels
gotta get...
all. It's like everyone's stooged.
Mm-hmm. And it does. The other complaint I have is that everybody, since it's on Discord and everybody's using their normal mics, the callers have their audio quality is too good.
Yeah, bring it down.
I want to be barely able to understand you.
Go grab your iPhone earbuds. Use that little microphone.
But don't put it up to your mouth. Let it
put it in your
dangle
mouth.
Maybe put it in under your shirt.
Yeah.
Or be on speakerphone. Be on speakerphone across the room. Something like that.
Okay, let's try this.
Dan?
Oh my God. Okay.
Hey.
The flurry of panic as so the audio is coming in through my headset. I'm speaking through my webcam, and the constellation-like configuration of audio settings, as I realized I had joined the waiting room, but not said I was calling in yet because I wanted to make sure I had this all set up. And then all of a sudden on the stream, I realized I was on the show. So this is gonna be great.
I mean, this is why we have rules set up where you have to do the calling in and waiting room, and then I just broke that and dragged you in. So if anybody's at fault here, let me tell you, it's not you, Dan.
I think the important thing is that there's plenty of blame to go around, and we all learned a valuable lesson about never trusting that my computer is going to believe that I have a microphone. How's your morning going? How's your morning going?
What's good?
Good.
I woke up, had some coffee, I ate some chips, which is what you should eat first thing in the morning, I think. This is me stalling for time while I desperately try and remember what my question was. But I'm pretty sure the thing that I wanted to talk about. So we are spending this morning writing a press release for something we're about to drop, and I was wondering if either of y'all had any experience doing that kind of stuff, and basically how y'all get prepped when you know that you've got a long week of telling people to check out your stuff. But is there ritual? Is there is there hope in your heart? And what other suggestions you might have? Yeah, that's a good question. I wish I had an answer to it, but I could pretend.
Sure. I can talk about the receiving end of being press.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's great. That's better than yes.
Yes, please. What is amazing when I get emails for hey, I want to be on Draw Your Dice, etc. Here's my game. Now I will admit I am not the best social media presence out there currently. I find it still difficult at this point. But when I'm prepping for a show, I love to learn as much about the people I'm interviewing as much as the game that I'm talking with them about, because my show is dedicated to the designer, not necessarily the game. And I love little bio blurbs about if using you as an example, I would love some how do gem room games get started, what are sort of both your and Collie's roles inside of that. I love knowing that you're family people, because I think that's like, it makes you feel real as opposed to just being like game authors outside it, like living in the internet. Um, and then like whatever games you're really like hopped up on, or you know, you have a specific game that you're working for, or a specific product. I shouldn't say necessarily game, but specific product you're getting ready to campaign about. And then in preparation things, I think there's a lot of useful like scheduling prep tools, or like if you just take a day in your week, like it could be, you know, you say you're writing today, so let's imagine it's today and you're prepping for next week. There's a really cool free platform called typefully.com for Twitter, where you can like do a long form thread and save it and schedule it out, and then it'll post it for you. And they just did an upgrade for adding images and GIFs to it, and you can also do alt text now. It didn't used to do that like maybe like a month ago. So that's really cool. Prepping all your newsletters ahead of time, and just kind of like finding ways to automate the process, and then just getting like 1 to 3 like writing days of just like, let's bang out all our press stuff. We'll mass send these emails, and then it's sort of like administrative management at that point, instead of trying to like make up stuff on the daily as you go forward, and then getting all those like interviews scheduled out ahead of time, because I don't know if you want to do them right after you blast out everything. Like, yeah, we could totally do an interview like the day for, like whenever it would make sense for the schedule of your product release. Obviously, that's sort of like those are my thoughts on being on the press end, both on like what I would love to see for my show in particular, and then stuff that I've been researching on how to try like make it easier for me to do press stuff.
Yeah. I will definitely say the first time we tried to do any kind of press stuff was for Duckburg, which we did in the wrong order and kind of improvised at the last possible minute, and it was miserable. And this time around, it was still miserable, but we had something to kind of look at to say like, oh, this is what we did last time. Like, because what I've realized about what, you know, why I've been complaining on our Discord for a couple days about having to write any kind of promo stuff is you have to explain the joke. You have to tell people. You can't be subtle or coy about what's great about your thing. You have to say in plain language, like, this is person who has gotten 12 of these emails today and is trying to figure out what's going to go on your blog and why. This is why this thing is going to be the thing you put on your blog. You can't be like purple prosy and like, ooh, there's like subtle nuance. Like, no, that's good. It's a good thing that'll make you sad is like what you have to say. And I think, you know, just like reading, you learn a lot about why press releases for things like, you know, the new Taco Bell taco that's made out of horrible, like, combinations of foods. Yeah, the like Dorito Mountain Dew fried chimichurri is like, it's written that way because that's the only way it can be written, and also it's not any different when you're writing a like something that's very serious and personal art and expression of yourself. Like, it's still, you have to speak this language, which is difficult, and we're trying to do it, and we promised that this time we wouldn't be like making it up and flying by the seat of our pants. But looking at my pants, and that seat is in coach. It is just it is hitting the tarmac. So
is there any other way to do it?
I mean, there might be another way to do it. I'm looking forward to discovering another way to do it, but this is less worse. So I'm thinking we're maybe half a dozen of these before it becomes part of just the gamut. But I think also, I mean, look, it's a weird like kind of press, right? Because you don't just want someone, you don't want a byline in or whatever in like the local newspaper. You want people's personal review blogs and YouTube channels to talk about it. You want, actual plays to have what they need to play your game with as few steps as possible. And it feels like you are, we're sticking to some advice we got that's very tied to conventional review press and so on. But there's an element of writing. It does feel like writing a press kit to email your buddy from Discord and be like, "Hey, talk to me about this game." And it's wild. It is the weirdest thing to do. So it's, you just got to kind of push through that element of it.
Yeah, it's the type of thing I am also trying to find the answer to this question, like with Grasping Nettles coming out soon, and that being what I think probably for a long time will be my most like easily approachable game that I make, because it's I mean it's just good and there's nothing else really to say about it. Like it doesn't cost anything to your brain to just start playing that game, which I'm usually bad at doing. So like that is going to be a game that I think is important in my catalog, and like how do I get it in front of people, because I think that the biggest hurdle for any game is people knowing about it, of course. So like how do I cross that hurdle, like you're saying? And it's just tough. Email all the podcasts, but I don't even know, like the podcasts have their own problems of like, how do I get people to know about my podcast?
It's the low tide that sinks all ships. Hey, by the way, if you've got a review podcast out there, please, for the love of God, have a For Business Inquiries email address prominently, because we're looking for it. I'm out here trying to figure out how to email people who have blogs and podcasts to give you free copies of my game, and I can't figure out how to do it without DMing you on Twitter like a weirdo. So please.
Yeah.
Please. Tell me your email address for the love of God. But it is not the fun part, but it's also I don't know. I guess if it is not as bad the second time. That is definitely I'm taking heart in that. So if we continue on this trajectory, it will be less worse in a couple months when we do this dance again.
Yeah. I almost wonder if there's some merit in like making a private like mailing list type thing where you not like a mailing list that you're just blasting and putting random podcast hosts' email address on, but like one that you are basically doing that, but just as a way to like collect them all in one place, and then you can just email everybody, my game rules, use it. That might be worth thinking about.
That is that is something we are continuing to add to. Is every because you notice every once in a while, so like, oh, this person writes for Dicebreaker or what have you, and that is their contact email. So let's just add that to the old, because it's like when you think of a good idea for a present for someone several months before their birthday and or a gift-giving holiday, and if you write it down in that moment, you'll be ready when it's gift time. And if you don't write it down, you're sunk. It's over. You're getting them socks, which actually was one of the things that made the list, was nice warm socks, but not a great example. Anyways, one of my kids is body slamming the other one, so I probably ought to... It was cuddling. That was, I'm being informed, it was cuddling that was indistinct from a wrestling move. So I might need to get back to keeping kids alive and or day job and or finishing writing this thing that I meant to write last night and couldn't. But yeah, promo. It's rough, but it can get better.
Before you hop off, what is the thing?
Oh yeah, we are.
Tell us.
On the 6th.
That's how it works on this show.
On the 16th, we are releasing a Tunnel Goodens adventure for the Random Adventure Jam. It's called the Weaver's Observatory, and it is a 2-player adventure with 1 player and 1 GM, where 1 player plays Fate, slash the Ultimate Weaver, and the other plays the Climber, who has come to ask for their fate to be changed, and it has 8 possible endings to figure out
Jesus.
how, because sometimes part of the things you regret about are essential to who you are, and maybe change means making the change for the benefit of someone who is you, but different enough that it's completely it's the end of you as you know yourself. And what does that mean? So
What does
it's
it mean?
hugely
Mystery.
personal and a big bummer. Holly wove a tapestry for it that we photographed. So there's a lot of slow art and fiber art, and we're really really proud of it, and we're hugely anxious about it because most of our other stuff has been based on a pun about ducks who do murder, and this time it's like, hey, so this one it's a different tone. It's a different tone than what we've done in the past. But we're really excited to show it to folks. So that'll be coming out on the 16th, and we'll be dropping an itch page with a whole press kit. Hopefully in a few hours, if I can reread and copy edit this thing that I wrote at 5 a.m.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Well, that sounds awesome. Good luck with the release. That is very difficult, but also important.
Well, thank you.
The fact that you're thinking about it is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're already ahead of me.
That's what we're hoping. Not the ahead of any one part, but just the okay. But we're thinking about it, so we can't be in that much trouble, right?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out.
Well,
We'll find out on the 16th.
All right.
Well, good luck to you, Dan.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
And Collie. Good luck to Dan and Collie.
Good luck to Gym Room Games.
Gym Room Games.
Oh yeah, that's where you'll find it. Is at gemroomgames.itch.io. By the way, the thing that I just said you should check out and buy will be at that place.
Put the link in the chat. Put the link in the chat.
Put it in the chat. Let people know.
Yeah, let people know.
All right, Dan, I'm going to send you on your dusty trail way. I didn't mean that your trail's dusty in particular, but all the trails are.
It's dusty out here.
I have a dusty trail.
All right. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Should I do it? No, damn it. Dan, I was going to kick you, but you left. I like kicking people. It's fun. Let's see. Aaron Lim, if you're out there, you did say you're calling in, but you are. Wow, ready to go. Just waiting to get in the waiting room.
Marx Shepherd is in the farms only.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the other waiting room. I pulled people from there. That's a channel that I think I meant to delete a long time ago, but you don't have to be lonely with farmersonly.com. Aaron, I'm bringing you in. Hello. Welcome to the Tabletop College Show.
Hello. Thanks for having me. How are y'all doing?
Happy to have you back.
Doing good. Living the dream. It's sunny. It's getting hot in my corner of the house, which is annoying because I can't do anything about it right now. What's going on with you?
Is that because you're sitting in front of a fire?
Well,
your background.
Oh, right. Yeah, the Discord background. Yeah, that is it. It's the fire on my back. You'll have to call in to get that joke and see the Discord. Or to look at the fire at Jeremy's back now.
Yeah, so I was asking because I think you mentioned before that you're not gonna do a video a week anymore.
Or a video a day.
Sorry, a video a day after the first week of doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious about like for both of you, like how do you go about like setting like creative restrictions or like goals for yourself, and how to keep that sustainable and something that actually will continue to be productive for you, versus like when you know something like that might put you at the risk of like burning out, for example. So just kind of try, kind of like, because it's something that I do as well, and because I find that helps with how I work. So I tend to like set little goals for myself. I find that very helpful, especially with like game design stuff, because sometimes when you're just doing it as a hobby or for fun, like it's nice to have little like milestones to aim for. So like what you're saying, like a video a day for like a month. I think last year I did a game a month, or like a lot of people who do Patreons do like a game a month, or something. Doesn't have to be a game, right? Like they release
Right.
something per month, like just like have a cadence there. So
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of gut feel, and then a lot of allowing myself to walk it back. So like the idea, I mean, Vlogmas is like a thing that YouTubers do, where they make a video a day. I think from December 1st to December 24th or something like that. I don't really know. I just know it is a thing, and so I wanted to like use just something as kind of a jump start to get me just doing that type of creativity again, because as like a little background for me, like I think video is probably my oldest creative outlet. I did a bunch of it with some friends in high school, like for various classes and stuff like that. And then like we split off into different colleges, so it kind of fell apart. And then I almost studied film in college, but I was like, I don't think I'll make money if I do that. So I stopped that. Because there was no way I was going to double major in what I did, which was physics and film, because those are way too different, and I would have toasted myself, like staying up all night making the videos for film and then also trying to figure out how to know physics. You can't do both. I can't do both. Somebody can. It's not me. It never was me. So yeah, just like a lot of internal dialogue of like, let's try this thing, and then try to stick to it for a short amount of time, and then see how that feels. So like another example, Jeremy, whenever we started the Tabletop Call-In show way back when, you made the firm thing of like, we're doing 10 episodes and then we'll see if we like it. Like, we got to stick to it, because that's how we can really flesh it out, and it won't just be like the first episode that we just crash and burn and say, nah, let's never do this again. We're doing 10, and then we will talk about if we like doing it. And I think that was pretty powerful to me, because I was just like, let's just try it, and then it would probably have fizzled without that level. What do you think? You got more? I have more thoughts, but let me tag you in for a bit.
Yeah, I definitely think, when I did the Draw Your Dice podcast, I said that I wanted to do 52. I wanted to meet like 52 people and do 52 episodes, basically a year's worth of content a week. And I met that goal in like August. So, one thing that did end up happening as the show gained more popularity, or I was getting to a stage where like people were actually asking me to be on the show, that I have experienced like a few weeks of like burnout and stuff like that, because I had to I wanted to be kind and like lift up the guests by allowing them to have their episodes come up when they had promotional materials coming out, like, hey, I'm talking about this game and I have something coming out in like 2 weeks. Cool, I'd love to schedule that for you. So it ended up making me release like double or triple episodes on like weeks and stuff like that, and kind of shortened the range at which I was producing. So then what ended up happening was like, oh, I want to keep the podcast going, so now I have to find more interviews to fill the weeks that I don't have content for anymore, right? And so I ran into this interesting like shrinking elastic band thing. And for anyone who's listening to this and is like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like put that pressure on him, I'm fine. Like I wanted to help you out. Like, I know that I'm mentioning like this is a conversation about how do we set those sorts of boundaries. So I could have easily done stuff like, hey, the next 2 weeks are gonna be like no airtime or something like that. Like that could have been something. I don't know who would have been cool with that as far as like listenership is concerned. or if that would have caused me like fall off the map. Even right now, like we're in the middle of the holidays. I started a new like the dog walking stuff, which is actually a lot more like time consuming than I thought it was going to be because I'm driving everywhere in my neighborhoods and having to go to people's houses, take out their dogs, feed them, stay with them for a little bit. It's anywhere from like half hour to hour walk. So it is eating up a lot more time than I thought it was going to. And um I've been on hiatus both for my Patreon feed and for my public feed for the last quite a few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And I have episodes in the vault, but I'm pretty much waiting till like after the holiday season, after January, to really like get back to that stuff. But in the meantime, I have been really focused on like game design and writing. I have a couple articles that I feel really passionate about that I hope to propagate in the next year. So that, to full circle that whole thing, is that I'm a big fan of like big long-term goals and then reverse engineering breaking it down and like what sort of time do I have to spend on executing that. So I said I want to do 52 episodes. That means I can like no matter how many interviews I do, I just need 52 like interviews and then I can dole them out as I see fit. Interviewing was fun. It was really, you were my first international guest, Aaron, and that was the first time I had to wake up at like 7 in the morning to do an interview, which I'm happy to do because I really want as many voices on the show as possible. And
Yeah, thanks for the effort.
yeah, no, that's not to say like, not to try to get a pat on the back. Thank you, I appreciate that. But it's all to say like, there is a lot of learning things as far as like additional boundaries on that reverse engineering. And it's things I'm still okay with, but I'm not doing interviews at like 9 o'clock at night anymore to facilitate time zone stuff because my energy is gone after 7. Like don't do it, dude. I'm about to go watch anime or play the next 3 hours. Don't talk to me. Yeah, it's been a learning experience about like micro boundaries. What I'm circling to is like setting micro boundaries for myself, and I could have done a lot of different things for making sure that stayed pretty like exercisable instead of like rush, help this person out, fill in more slots sort of thing.
Yeah. I like that talking about like setting boundaries, especially with yourself, framing it like that, because I think that's definitely, I mean, with the video stuff this month especially, it was like I set the boundary of if I'm not having fun on any given day making a video, I'm not gonna do it. Just no. That's because it's making those videos, maybe one day will be something if I stick with it and do like weekly or bi-weekly or something else, that might eventually be like something that can sustain my life. But like right now it is just a hobby, and it's a hobby that's like relating a little bit back to what I'm calling my job, which is making games, but it's not directly, so it should still be fun. And if it stops being fun, I should stop doing it until I can recalibrate back to having fun, which like I saw that coming when like the 2 days between the last video that I did, which I think was the golf system, and then the and like making the video saying, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. It was like I would wake up and then throughout the day I was like, do I have any ideas on what to do today? Is there anything I want to make? And it was 9 p.m. and I was like, guess not. So 2 of those days in a row I was like, okay, let's just call this, and then I can get back to it when I get back to it. Which, hopefully 1 a week. That's like the new goal.
Yeah, it's just like recognizing early on, before you like burn out on it, like when you need to set the boundaries for that. Yeah.
Right. When you could start twisting in and like pushing yourself through, which might lead to burnout. Maybe pull back then.
Yeah. It's really interesting to hear, like Jeremy, you were talking about like the with the podcast as well, because like you have the I have the impression of like the podcast sounds like it's an ongoing thing, right? Like it's a time unbounded thing, but like just setting an arbitrary limit of just like, hey, just think about the 52 guess it that you can get through in a year, right? Like, and doling it out as like, okay, you just need to do one a week, and you can break it down that way. That feels a lot more manageable, or like easier for you to like understand and like work with. Yeah, especially when you're talking about like I guess to bring it back to like game design stuff, right? Like sometimes when you're working on like a game design project, and like it can seem interminable, and sometimes just knowing, when do you set a timeline, how do you set a timeline to know like, hey, this is when I need to stop, like going back and reworking the system from the ground up again for the fifth time. So like and this is kind of like jumping a little bit into like the how are we divesting from Kickstarter and like crowdfunding, because that usually provided a pretty good goal to aim for, right? Like, hey, get this ready for a campaign in X amount of months, right? Or like,
Right.
hey,
Yeah, and
Zine
then
Quest is an easy marker, for example.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then the thing that I pitched on Kickstarter, like you get that validation of people being like, I want that idea. And so then you stop changing it every week, because it's like, okay, I can still like refine this idea before I release it, but like I pitched you this idea, it was going to be a hex grid with inflatable miniatures, and people wanted it.
Shut up.
I'm not making that.
Don't say you want it.
Don't ask
Someone
for
else
that.
can have that idea.
But yeah, like having that end goal, that's a good point. I'm like,
Yeah, because it's tough to like be in the middle of a project and like not know when you are when you want to stop working on it, right? Because you can always keep working on it until it's so-called perfect, until it's so-called great, rather than just good. So yeah, I guess that's the benefit of like having some smaller goals, or like some deadlines to like try to hit. Do you have any like midterm, short-term, midterm, long-term goals that you're working on at the moment?
Jeremy, do you have any?
Yeah, short term is to get ready for basically DYD season 2, and what I want to do is I think that I want to hit the ground with interviews like hard, and then slowly release episodes like um and probably do stuff a little bit more in general conversation rather than in promotional mode if I can help it with the interviewees. Like instead of like talking about games they're getting ready to release right now, because those things are always time sensitive. Because another thing I think about when it comes to press stuff, and this maybe also sort of touches on in Dan's conversation too, is that a lot of times, as much as it's beloved that we get games as press, games don't keep our electricity on. We can't pay the electric companies with PDFs. So, and again, this is not like to put in a conversation of like slighting any guest or slighting like the process at which we operate now, but there should be a consideration for like in your marketing budget being able to help out the people who are helping get the news of your game out there, because that is work, and they are working constantly to try and like push that content out. And I know that a lot of times it can be viewed as a two-way street, in that, hey, I come on your show and bring my demographic, and your demographic comes to me. But the thing is that as long as that episode lives, it's sort of evergreen, and every time someone listens to your episode, that converts into a potential buy, right? Whereas for the podcast, I have to rely on like outside market shares of like Purple Mattress and Geico and shit like that to help give me money, and I have to have the numbers for that. So, and that's a little bit more like, it needs a little bit more investment to produce. So short term, I want to have like more conversations of press stuff, thinking about the potential like small marketability of that, or small just like compensation of that. Medium term, I have a series of articles that I really want to start building up, plus some other things that are being chatted about in the shadows. Some like collaboration things. There are weasels involved. You'll all hear about it soon. And long term, I have a game that I want to get done. That's like a Final Fantasy Heartbreaker.
Not Umbral Dive. Different game? Or
No, Umbral Dive.
oh,
Umbral
okay.
Dive.
I thought this
Yeah,
was some
yeah,
new
yeah.
fantasy.
No,
Fantasy
no,
Heartbreaker. I was like,
no.
jeez, got a lot of hearts to break in there.
Yeah. That's my short term, long term. Short term, podcast stuff. Medium term, collaboration / like content thing, different content things, and then long term, an actual game for people to purchase.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, similar deal. Like short term for me is Legend Has It in January, and whatever becomes of Zine Quest with the other game that I'm doing in February. And medium term is, I think, establish a more like personal position as like a video creator. Obviously, a lot of my energy is going to be directed towards the like Kickstarters that I'm going to be doing or whatever crowdfunding campaigns, but I want to try to use some of that energy to like also just keep doing those videos, because I got, like for somebody that like 12 people know that I'm making videos, I got some positive reaction to the stuff I was doing as like just doing it for fun. So I would like to just keep doing that for fun and keep getting that reaction, because it's a nice two-way. I don't know, people want, there's a huge gap, I think, in the like RPG space as far as like what videos are out there, and I would like to start patching up that gap with my own ideas. Long term, I don't know. Hopefully all the short term and medium term stuff works. keep doing that. Yeah. How about you? Do you have any goals?
Yeah, before we wrap you up here, what do you got going?
Oh
on?
yeah. I have a supplement, well, an altogether different river finishing up soon.
Ooh.
Just waiting on art and finishing up layout on that. And then I've been working on playtesting Spectres a lot. And that's been interesting. This is why I've been thinking about like setting goals and like setting like what I'm aiming for, because like I initially thought of like doing a Kickstarter for it, and then thinking probably that might not be the way I want to go for with it anymore. Not just because of the recent like blockchain stuff, but like just like how precarious my position in relation to Kickstarter is, just because of like I'm only able to access it because I am a permanent resident of Australia, but I am no longer living there, so it's just gonna be trickier to maintain with like taxation and just managing like the legal stuff that entails. So I do need to find like a longer term solution than just like continuing with that. But yeah, like Spectres is the next big ish thing that I'm gonna work on. It's a kind of no dice no masters PUB game. Jeremy playtested it once, right? Did you playtest the version with words?
Yes, I had to remember. I was like,
yeah.
yeah. I was there. I figured it out mid.
Yeah. So that's I've been working on that one for a while. So it's like a mech drama game with another time skip. I do a lot of time skips in games now. And like it uses like words as tokens. So because I want you to have something that you remember from the first phase into the second phase, and words let you give memory to tokens. So that's fun. That's been a lot of fun to like get that done, and that ties into like why I've been so gung ho on like playtesting. Was like this year I wanted to playtest a lot, so I set a goal for myself to playtest other people's games like 50 times and playtest my own games 50 times as well. So that's been a good like driver to like just get out there and like get some game playing done. That's also like how I I got playing with y'all on like various playtests. So yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I think to continue doing that, I think it is a thing that I would like to keep going as well. Even though I think my stated goal of 50-50, I probably won't meet. I've met the 50 playtests of other people's games, but not 50 of my own games, just because it's like harder to like schedule for my own stuff. Yeah.
Right. It's easier to hop into a group than create one from scratch.
Yeah.
Correct. Like yeah,
Brain
it's like
speed.
easy to like look to 4 or 5 different groups and see who needs playtests versus like I need to organize my own thing.
I need to
You know.
filter in all 4 or 5 different Discord servers into my game.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Thanks for chatting.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank
Always
you for
good to
being
talk to
here.
you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Aaron.
Do I need to disconnect? I do, right?
Or I could kick you. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Adam,
I'll
do it.
disconnect.
Adam, hurry.
Got him. All right, we've got one more caller coming in here. Marx Shepherd is in
Been
the
waiting
waiting
so
room. Has been
patiently.
extremely patient for like 40 minutes. That's awesome. Thank you. Hello. Thank you for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show. Can you hear us? How's it going?
Might be catching up on the stream. May have went away for a second.
Their last message in the call queue Discord was 2 minutes, which might mean I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm not sure. We'll find out.
Quack, quack, 2 minutes.
Yeah, goals and goal setting is something I've definitely done more in the past month or two than ever in my life, which is weird and nice. I think it's nice to like have wrestled some concept of control, even though it's, we'll see if it's actually control or if it's just a joke.
I like to reverse engineer stuff. Like when I make a new game concept, I always do a table of contents first, like just to kind of see
Wild.
what needs to be in here.
Yeah. I think I've tried that. It doesn't work for me.
I get it.
I've tried
I'm an organizational step structure kind of guy, so putting that all in there.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever I make games, I just kind of start making them, and then we see what happens. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh, does that sound like mic wrestling?
I think it sounds like
hello.
mic rustling.
Sorry.
Hey.
No, you're okay.
No, all good.
Yeah.
It was just at the time that my kids got back, so
Oh, do they want to come on the show?
no. They want to watch telly.
Hi, Marx.
Hiya, how you doing?
Well, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Oh gosh, my Twitch is still talking to me, which is obviously not helpful. You don't want that. You don't want to hear yourself
I heard
twice.
myself, and it was nice.
Wait. Oh goodness, and then it's about to say it again. There we go. I've paused it now. So, yeah,
got it.
Everyone's doing okay. It's started again. This is really embarrassing. This is like
No.
It's like a work meeting, except worse.
But no, except better because I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Right, I think I've killed it sufficiently now. Good. Yeah,
And you're
Great.
comfy and happy.
it's cool to be on your show.
Yeah. Thanks
Cool to
for
have you
coming.
here.
Adam, you messaged me on Twitter earlier, actually.
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
but
so that could be fun. Yeah. For our Zine Quest event on Kickstarter. Well, not on Kickstarter. Zine Quest event on Yes Indeed Pod next year. We're gonna do some chain reaction interviews, so we'll have fun with that.
yeah, it seems like a really fun idea.
Yeah, I can't remember where I got it from. I think I got it from a radio program, so it might be entertaining. I'll probably start 4 chains and see how far we get, but it could end up being a lot of editing, so we'll see.
Marx, do you have a question for us?
Do I have a question for
Or
you?
anything to chat
Well,
about.
it's sort
Nope.
of
That's
related to Kickstarter, I suppose. How do you feel about Kickstarter
Well,
following recent events?
Yeah.
I feel like personally, recent events. It's just like another drop in the pile of everything that sucks about Kickstarter. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a little bit weird to see like this being the thing that which for the listener that is not supremely online. Kickstarter recently announced that they're transforming their platform to a blockchain database style ? So they're not doing like funny coins. You're not going to pay with Doge bucks to get our games on there. But, they're still doing a much reviled technology, probably as a cheap bid to get investor money, because investors are weirdos and like buzzwords.
Yeah.
So
It's possible. I mean, I think there's quite a lot of nuance to what's being suggested, but like ultimately it would end up being that Kickstarter's money was going to a company that is heavily invested in a system which is damaging to the planet.
Yeah.
So like, regardless of whether or not it's actually related to Bitcoin or Dogecoin or whatever other ridiculous names they have for these things, it's kind of immaterial. It's sort of like,
yeah, right.
If Kickstarter were suddenly going to shift to, well, I mean, they're probably already on AWS, but if they were actually going to, literally become part of Amazon's network, for instance, would that be a problem to people?
Mhm.
It's sort of that's the kind of analogy that I'm trying to get my head around. Whether or not that makes sense to other people, I don't know.
Yeah, so like bringing up AWS feels like a good thing, because Amazon is also a complete scourge to this planet. Amazon, the company, the rainforest
Right,
is lovely. Like the amount of
the rainforest. Screw the rainforest.
Yeah.
the amount of like, from even just a basic level without thinking about it much, the amount of boxes that are now being used because Amazon exists, and packaging and whatever, and then you start to add on the labor violations and all of like 85,000 reasons Amazon's bad. Like being in bed with them is, to me, I mean, it's just like another, I don't know. It's hard to not sound dismissive when I say that like the idea of Kickstarter doing blockchain is just another thing on the pile, but like it really is, because it's a big shitty corporation that, like, one, I mean, Aaron was just saying how he's affected by this. One, excludes creators from outside the Imperial Core just for fun. Two, like, is shitty to its own employees. Like, did everything it could to squash the union efforts, and I'm not actually sure what's going on with those union talks. I'm sure Kickstarter's not being exactly cooperative, and allowing their workers to ask for basic shit. It's like, so them saying, "Oh, we're doing this funny, trendy blockchain thing that sucks ass." It's just another thing that sucks ass.
It is, and I agree that it's weird that that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, because it's been a long time coming. Like, they have really poor community moderation. They have their own staff members like flagrantly violating rules regularly. Their rules are just not applied consistently to anybody. Like, I think it massively depends on who reviews your application, whether or not it gets approved, and
sometimes
that's not a good place to come from,
Sometimes it just gets approved. 2 of my 4 Kickstarters just auto approved. Nobody looked at it, which doesn't make any sense. Like, Legend has it.
Make any sense. I actually want, that kind of diligence, because, okay, as an example, and I keep talking about this platform everywhere, so I feel like a broken record now, but GameFound, I applied to their beta test crowdfunding, and they said no, because we've done some due diligence on you and you've got an outstanding Kickstarter campaign to fulfill. I'm like, that's fantastic that you've looked into that.
Whoa.
Thank you, So
It's good
No,
to
I think
know,
that's
'cause they
brilliant.
probably wouldn't accept me.
I actually like that people are being diligent. I wasn't even applying under the same name, you know. So
But we
just kind of
found you.
yeah, exactly. So it's really good that people do this kind of due diligence, and I think that's a really, really healthy thing for what is effectively a sort of private equity backing system to be fully backed by a human touch. Algorithms are not so good.
Oh yeah, they're not. But yeah, I like recently I started writing the Kickstarter for my upcoming game, and I was like, let me just get this out of the way, submit it. I know it might take a little while because I have I have 2 Kickstarters that aren't fully fulfilled right now, and I'm nobody. One of them is like a real game, and the other is a shit post that I have fulfilled 50% of it, I think, by now. And the other posts are still coming. But yeah, then I submitted that, and it was like, you're approved. You're good to go, buddy. You can hit the button for your 3rd outstanding Kickstarter, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to try to get the other 2 done first. But like, yeah, it's super weird that then there are other people that have a hell of a time on like their first project or have fulfilled, and they just have to like bully Kickstarter into letting them use their platform. It's a bad platform, but it's also kind of the only I'm not going to say the only way, but it is a very helpful service. The service that the shitty platform is providing to an indie creator is borderline invaluable. I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy?
So I'm not highly educated on. I know blockchain is bad, but I don't know how bad and in what degrees, what applications, because it's like a technology that needs to have the kinks worked out, essentially, right? Like we need to find if we are choosing to use it.
It's a technology that like doesn't really need to exist. And
Sure.
is like a solution to databases that adds extra kinks for fun.
Sure.
Not for fun, but for problems that like I'm sure somebody will say are real, but like they're not. It's not.
What I was more pointing to is, and this is a little different lens. Me and Grace were driving to a friend's house, and I saw a sign that said shop small, feel good. So like promoting small business stuff, small brick and mortar business. But then I thought about all of the connective elements for like that restaurant is probably not making a ton of money. So they're using the lowest cost, most convenient service, which is like Cisco or something, right? Or any of the larger scale like supporting corporations, and they're still like by supporting a small business, you're still supporting Cisco. Like the 1 degree of movement doesn't change how influenced or affected by any large scale who has their like hands and everything. They're not a monopoly, but they are in a way.
Right, there's no such thing as a small business in this.
Yeah.
Like
it's all one ecosystem
under capitalism. Yeah, it's all one endless chain of human suffering and exploitation that leads to like eventually, sure, you're supporting the small business, but I mean, let's be honest, with the owners of small businesses, they're usually also just little tyrants that demand their employees like work for so little because we're just small, we're nothing, but then they've they're making money.
We're all family here, and we all gotta make sacrifices.
We're all family. That's why
I'm gonna throw up.
That's why I, as a boss, get to abuse you, because we're all family, and that's what family does.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I was thinking about participating. Like, I wanted to get Umbral Dive to a like quick start rules state and do Zine Quest. Like, I want to do Zine Quest this year, and then I've still been trepidatious about using Kickstarter, not because I felt like it was hard, but just because it was like I'm kind of a hipster in that regard. I guess that's not necessarily a nice thing to say, but it's like I don't want to use the mainstream thing because it's the mainstream thing. I think when we get into these conversations, I want to use a new platform, but I want that new platform to immediately have power of Kickstarter, and that is in respect. I say that I want to try and mean that respectfully to the people who have made their. I know there are a lot of creators right now who are like, "Fuck, I can't like, I don't want to support Kickstarter, but this is how I make my game design career. Like, I don't have another mode of business that I can liquid myself into to facilitate the same amount of consumership that I need to support myself, to support my team. When I think about like the Far Horizon co-op, or how Possum Games does their business model, or how Sandy Pug Games does, like they sort of relied on, maybe not necessarily relied on, but a big portion of their initial capital came from crowdfunding model that exists today. And you know, I mean this with all due respect and love to those people who are going through it, but like, we can't make chinks in the armor until someone starts doing something a different way. Like, I know that Kickstarter is a titan and it does a lot of cool things for like, in terms of like marketability and convenience stuff, but it's like, it only became a titan because we kept feeding it, right? And at some point, it was like a tiny little goblin that was trying to compete with like Indiegogo and I can't remember what that fucking other one was that started a long time ago. GoFundMe. Yeah.
So
and it was just trying to like break in the market there, and then it got money behind it and investor stuff and the Amazon connection things. But we also keep feeding it.
Well, yeah, but I think the thing is like I said, like the service that it provides is extraordinarily valuable, and it's because historically under capitalism, a small creator can get fucked. Like, you just have to hustle and grind and like go to your local like art fair, and maybe somebody will give you $12, and maybe some rich weirdo will be your patron and can pay for you to make art, or maybe you get lucky and are like the one artist that actually makes money on their art. But Kickstarter is a corporation that found a way to make supporting or like make small creators getting money profitable for themselves. So like, that's the only reason it's allowed to exist under like the system of capitalism, because it's profitable for a corporation, for small creators like us to get money. So it's like the kind of thing that didn't really exist before the internet like started finding weird new profit ventures, and won't exist like until, I don't know. It's tough to imagine it existing in a way that's both sustainable, will have the eyes on it, and is nice without the fall of capitalism. Like,
and that all is like additionally connected to like the bigger problem of like land ownership and stuff and rent and like the cost of living in different areas. Like, a game designer who lives in California versus a game designer who lives in Ohio have to make drastically different incomes to like facilitate a hand-to-mouth situation, let alone comfortability in the current state of affairs. So like, that's another issue there. And anyways, for it all to be like said and done about Kickstarter, is just like, I feel like Kickstarter has never been there for the little guy unless it's profitable for them.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
like,
it just happens to be a useful thing for a small creator. But the primary thing is being profitable for Kickstarter. That's always been the thing. Like, Zine Quest has never been about uplifting the indie RPG thing. It has been about, oh, here's a fucking event where we can, we love the big campaigns at Kickstarter. We love when we just get a big pile of money, but we can pull up all of these little things and pretend it's one big campaign and get the big pile of money. We love that. It has the happenstance of like, it does kickstart some actual careers in game design and like gets people money, but the main thing is it's profitable for Kickstarter, and that sucks.
I think it's just a matter of like
cynical.
keeping your options. I guess what I'm ultimately trying to say is like, keep your options open, especially moving into this next year. Like, if you're thinking about getting in use of Kickstarter, keep considering that, because if that's a good way to like make income for yourself, I'm not telling you not to, but I think that it's also important to realize that like, Kickstarter could snap their fingers and be like, we don't accept crowdfunding under $10,000 or some bullshit like that. Like, just making up a really arbitrary rule that they could easily come up with. So think about itch funding. Think about establishing your own network or a collective. Like the Far Horizon Co-op and Sandy Pug Games are doing really cool stuff, and just kind of like keep your ears to the ground constantly. Like a model you can shift to if something cracks, I think is important to think about with all this Kickstarter stuff.
But also, it's okay to use a flawed system if
Yes,
because
yeah.
the whole
Well,
thing's a
yeah.
fucking flawed system. I don't know.
I think that's absolutely right. Like, we shouldn't be judging anybody who wants to use Kickstarter,
Right.
and we shouldn't be, not saying that anybody particularly is, but like, we need to also be aware that some people kind of have made their business model 2 or 3 successful Kickstarters per year, and that is paying their living costs. That's what's letting them survive in the world that they're in. And also, we have to be kind of aware that the more we say Kickstarter is bad, then it's not just the creators who are going to turn away from it, but it's also the backers, and that's potentially damaging to the creators as well.
For sure.
Already,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like the knock-on effects because, for example, my podcast, Yes Indeed, we do a lot of adverts for Kickstarter campaigns. Well, that's going to have a knock-on effect on me because I'm no longer going to get that advertising revenue,
Right.
and there's other weird effects. It's going to have this really weird chilling effect on the scene, and I think it's something that we need to kind of collectively be aware of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because like as an example, I wasn't around in the Google Plus days in the RPG scene, but like how many connections were formed then that like when Google Plus slammed its doors shut, there are probably people that were having good conversations there that still haven't found each other, or people that were like when these big companies like slam the door shut on industries, like it's really hard to pick those pieces back up. As nice as it would be to just let's just make a new thing. It doesn't really.
It's like 90% of that Google Plus traffic just went onto Twitter, and Twitter is a basically impossible place to have a meaningful conversation.
Right. And impossible to like find people to have those conversations with. Like I hate jumping into people's threads that I haven't talked to elsewhere because I don't want to be a reply guy. Like
yeah, exactly. But it's sort of analogous to like the thing that happens with Drive-Thru RPG, which is that every year or so, Drive-Thru RPG make a terrible decision that makes loads of creators want to leave that platform, but you can't. It's impossible to leave that platform because it amounts to 95% of the sales of RPGs in the world, right? So it's the same thing, and it's particularly problematic for a small industry which is mostly dominated by 1 or 2 enormous companies, and then everybody else fighting over the scraps. So I think we just have to be aware that fighting over those scraps in an increasingly diversified playing field is going to be very, very difficult. So, yeah, collectively, we probably all need to move to one platform rather than 8.
Yeah, it always has like that splinter effect where some people go here, some people go there, but like transferring the whole user base to a new place that's really hard. Especially
it's not going to work unless we have consensus, and I think what it would require would be for a big creator, and the perfect example for me would be someone like Evil Hat, to say we're not going to use Kickstarter anymore because we don't agree with XYZ practices. And Kickstarter regularly Evil Hat regularly rake in hundreds of thousands of dollars on Kickstarter, right? So if they suddenly said we're going to use GameFound, or we're going to use Game on Tabletop, or we're going to use these other systems which are equally as good and whose names I've forgotten, are very international in scope, that's going to make an enormous difference, and people are going to say, cool, we'll still go and back your stuff because we think it's cool. It's not going to be like, oh, right, okay, so Evil Hat decided to cancel Kickstarter. It's going to be more meaningful than that, isn't it? It's going to be a show of solidarity, and I think that's what it needs. But at the same time, Evil Hat have got their own issues. Like every company has their own issues. And at the end of the day, they need to pay their staff. So, maybe they're not going to do that. Who knows? Yeah.
It's tough. There's no good answer. That's the hard part.
So nuanced.
Yeah.
That's the really hard part. Yeah.
The Tabletop Collins show is no good answer for this one. No strong answer.
No strong answer.
I think
Well,
there are strong answers there, but none of them are good or
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
None of them
They
are
all
easy.
take
Yeah,
investment.
definitely true. Yeah.
The
It'll
easiest
take
one is
everybody to make a step.
The easiest one
Yeah.
is to overthrow global capitalism and replace
Oh,
it.
hey, when that's the easiest solution.
Marx, do you have anything that you wanna plug before we wrap up here for today?
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm good. You can listen to S&D Pod at wherever good podcasts are sold, or not sold, as the case may be. You can listen to me on Draw Your Dice. Actually, it came out a couple of weeks
Sure.
back, which was a good time. And yeah, we're finished for the year, but we'll be back in January with an interview from Adam and Thrin of These Flimsy Rituals, who have produced a really cool game, Rhine. Episode
Ooh,
2
yeah.
hopefully is going to be Vincent and McGay Baker, which will be a good time. And episode 3 will be with Federico Sones, who made Nibiru and is working on a very, very cool other project. After that, we'll be going into Zine Quest month, so that'll be fun.
Zine Quest mode.
Awesome.
So you can look forward to that.
Well, thank you, Marx.
No worries. Well, thank you. It's been fun.
Yeah. Thank you. Great talking to you.
Cheers, Adam.
Cheers.
I think that's gonna be it for us. Right.
Adam, get them out of here.
Get them out of here. Okay, I could do it.
Get them out.
No. Why'd you have to say it? Yeah, I think that'll be us. That's all, folks. That's gonna be it for the Tabletop College Show. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I had a nice time. My vocal box eventually figured out how to speak again. Probably about 20 minutes into the show, I think. So that was nice. Yeah, follow us on Twitter at Tabletop Colin. Subscribe here especially if you got Amazon Prime and are willing to choose us. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at Adam E. Bell. Get my games at adamebell.games. Follow my Kickstarter at kickstarter.adamebell.games so you know when that goes live. It's going to be good, hopefully. Yeah. Jeremy?
I've been Jeremy Gage. You can find me at JeremyGage5 over on Twitter, or at Draw Your Dice Pod, also on Twitter. Sold where podcasts are sold, alongside Yes Indeed podcast.
And
check out
if you're into
and this show on podcast.
Listening later.
Thank you to everyone who came out today. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the Prime subs today. Donnie Dynamo, I've written down your question and we will get to it at the top of maybe that'll be like the design talk conversation as well, potentially. So
Yeah.
like for next week or something.
We can throw that
we
into
can get into it.
throw that into the talk show.
Yeah. Don't want you to think that we ignored that today. And thank you for all the gift subs, and go check out Yes Podcast. Go check out Spencer's Coffee Talk Time on Sundays with Gila RPGs. Who else? Gem Room Games. Support all these like indie makers in here. And is that everyone? Did I do the thing? Cool. Just want to make sure I'm lifting all the ships all the time. I'm the chat guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't keep up with it. Even when it's kind of slower. I can't. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. And until next time, just think about how cool of an animal a weasel is.
Yeah. Keep that in your brain.
Keep it up. We're out of here.